Let's tell you what's happening in China. The Wuhan virus is on a rampage. The worst hit is Hong Kong. What I'm about to show you next is disturbing, let me warn you. These pictures came to us last week. There is no place to store dead bodies in Hong Kong. Funeral homes are overflowing. Almost 150 people are dying every day. So refrigerated shipping containers are being hired. It gets worse. Hospitals have been forced to install tents. They've run out of beds. Food supplies are running out. Shelves are empty at supermarkets again. Just today, more than 43,000 cases were reported. This high infection rate has sparked fears of a lockdown in Hong Kong, and this has led to panic buying. Such images are not new. This was a frequent sight, remember, in 2020 and 2021 during the first and the second waves. The world did not have vaccines then, not enough vaccines last year. Global healthcare systems were not prepared for the Wuhan virus outbreak. They did not have the capacity to deal with a virus that multiplies so quickly. Across the world, the situation is better now, thankfully. But that list does not include Hong Kong. The Omicron-induced surge began almost 3 months ago. Hong Kong is still struggling to tame the virus because it is sticking to a failed playbook. I'm talking about zero COVID. China still continues to stick with the same policy, the policy of mass testing and lockdowns. When the first cases were tested in December, Hong Kong ordered its first round of mass tests. But that did not stop fresh infections. More than 2,000 people have died in this surge alone. What is Hong Kong's solution? More tests. Hong Kong has a population of more than 7 million. Each person living in Hong Kong, every one of them, will now have to take not one, not two, but 3 compulsory Wuhan virus tests. The move was widely criticized. Reports say the local administration is rethinking the decision. Hong Kongers are furious. Here's what one of the residents said. They're making it impossible to live here. It's ridiculous what's going on. It's like the blind leading the blind. The rules change every day. Hong Kong's outbreak is spreading to the mainland. New infections are rising rapidly in China. Today, the country reported its biggest one-day spike since the 2020 Wuhan outbreak, the biggest in 2 years almost. More than 500 new cases were found. Omicron has now been identified in nearly a dozen cities in China. This includes Shanghai, Xi'an, Suzhou, Qingdao and Wenzhou. Just this weekend, 17 out of 31 provinces of China reported new infections. That's what China is officially reporting. Let me repeat that. The actual numbers could be very different, much higher perhaps. Earlier, China had claimed that it had vaccinated 80% of its population. If that is the case, why is Beijing failing to tame new outbreaks? The simple answer would be Chinese vaccines are not working. Chinese shots are ineffective against the virus from China. But there is a deeper reason, some say, behind China's failure. And the reason is this. China is still relying on a failed model to fight the pandemic. China's vast hospital network still remains vulnerable. Beijing may build hospitals quickly and use it as a propaganda video. But not all of these are equipped to handle a Wuhan virus surge. Distribution of resources is lopsided. Investment on improving infrastructure is low. China's latest Wuhan virus surge comes during a key meeting in Beijing. The National People's Congress, perhaps the most important event for the Communist Party every year. The Chinese leadership sets targets for itself at this gathering. The Omicron outbreak has barely found a mention so far. That should tell you about China's priorities. And as long as that remains the case, the world will remain vulnerable to more outbreaks from China. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.